Hi guys and gals, Froggy here. Froggy's doing some painting today. And what's the most important thing you can know about painting? Preparation, that's right. You can't just slap the paint on there, you've got to prepare the surface that's going on first. Now this is an antique table. I kind of like it the way it is, maybe a little darker stain on it, but Mrs. Froggy wants it painted white. She already picked out the paint, and I'm going to paint it. First, and what she's also doing is changing the handle, the pull handle, from this, which has two holes, to this beautiful handle, which has one hole. So, what I'm going to have to do is repair or plug up or seal those two holes and drill one in the middle, although as I look at it closely I think there is already one in the middle. I might just have to drill out an old hole. How about that, Mrs. Froggy? There's already a hole in the middle. Anyway, so what I'm going to do first, I've got a couple of products that I'm going to use to seal the hole. Let me show them to you. There's some wood putty, which I think is a little on the old side. I opened it up already. It's not too soft. It's kind of stiff. But since I've got two big holes to fill in, I'm going to fill the bottom with this. And then I got some new stuff, which is Elmer's wood filler, stainable. All of these are stainable, paintable, and this one actually has a lighter color. I can see through the that it's a light tan color, so it may, I might put 2 coats of paint on it anyway on this front panel, but it may take the paint a little better than this darker color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tape and tape up the back side so nothing runs out the back side, and then start filling from the front side. I'm just going to take a flat blade screwdriver and start digging the putty out and putting it in the hole. I want to pack it pretty tight. I may get a little smaller screwdriver to tamp it down in there. I don't want any shrinkage. You can see this old patch here. Maybe you can see it right there. Nice and flat. So that's the way I want mine. I don't want any shrinkage. I want to pack it nice and tight so that when I paint it and it dries after a few weeks, I don't see a sunken down hole there. Okay? And this is pretty dense stuff. I think it should do a good job. There you go. I got maybe a 1/4 inch left that hasn't been filled with that old dark putty. Now I'm going to open up the new one and top it off. Here we go with the new stuff. I'm going to put a little extra there, and then I'm going to get a flat blade like a putty knife and scrape it across there. Okay, I've just what I want to do, if I can, is leave a little excess on here so that I can sand it down. But this is some pretty, not really liquid, but it's very soft. The texture or the consistency of it is very soft compared to the older putty that I put in first. So I'm going to have to let this dry a few hours, maybe even overnight, and then see if it sinks down at all. And if it sinks down, I'll put another coat on, and then that should be good enough. So let's just let this sit for now, and I'll show you what I'm doing with the rest of the piece of furniture. I laid out a cloth, keep my garage floor nice, and what I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to get some sandpaper. It's that sandpaper that's mounted on a foam block, and I'm going to use that to rough it up. And then I'm also going to use some kind of a chemical. I've got several of them. I hadn't figured it out yet. Maybe acetone or maybe something else, and that'll help prepare the surface. Now this is already a pretty dry surface. It's got some texture to it, I don't think I'm going to have any trouble getting paint to stick to it. This is what I'm talking about. It's foam with sandpaper attached on the outside. You can also use regular sandpaper with a block to make it fit the surface that you're going on, but these are pretty good. So I'm just going to go over it just like that. Just like that. I'm going to go over the whole thing, and then I'm going to use a chemical on it, then I'm going to paint it. I want to show you something here about making yourself comfortable when you're working on a piece. Now, I could bend over or get down on my knees, or basically those are my two options. Or I can bring the work up to a level that's more comfortable for me. I'm not in my 20s or even in my 30s, so I like to make things easy. So there's four. Those are old recycling cartons that were replaced by some new system that we have here. Anyway, four of those with a piece of plywood on top, and voila! Now I've got something that I don't have to bend over, I don't have to get down on my knees, I can work on it at a very nice level, and I'm going to paint it this same level too. So just a little tip there from the frog, okay? I'll show you that from there. Okay, I'm all sanded, and now I'm going to, well, it's called a tack rag, but really you just want to get a rag that doesn't have a lot of lint to it and wipe everything down. And I'm going to dampen that rag a little bit with paint thinner, not soak it or anything, but just dampen it, and then I'm going to wipe all my surfaces down with that rag to get all the dust and sanding dust off, and neutralize any chemical or anything that might have been left on the wood that would prevent the paint from sticking. So here we go. Okay, it's all wiped down, and I'm going to paint this from the bottom up because it's going to be really easy to put paint on the top section. And I'm going to paint the legs first, then these sides, then I'm going to flip it over and paint the top. Now I want you to notice something. It's been about 20 minutes. I went over here and checked my putty job, and I can feel it's soft, and there's a little, when I touch it, there's a little indentation, so I'm going to build that up. This is dry here, but where it's deep, where the hole is, it's soft, so I'm going to put a little more of that putty on there and let it dry some more. What I'd like to do is decant the gallon. I got a gallon because I got 3 pieces to do, into a smaller container. It's easier to handle. I don't have to move this thing around. Actually, I can cover it right back up, and then when I'm done, I will put any leftover back in there. My weapon is a chisel edge 2-inch brush. This is a good quality, so it won't leave a lot of brush marks. It's got very fine bristles on it. Use a good quality brush and good quality paint. So let's get started. You want to load the brush up, you know, these are small legs that I'm doing, so I'm not putting that much paint on the brush. I don't want to dunk it all the way up to the metal part. Just use your judgment, put the right amount of paint on there, and use a nice light touch. Oops, sorry, got out of frame there. And we don't have to paint the bottom, and there we go. Just like that. Brush it on. Now maybe someday I'll do something on spray painting, but this one I wanted to brush on because it would have wasted a lot of paint to put spray paint on these legs because most of the paint misses, and I haven't painted anything with a brush in a long time, so we'll see how this comes out. Okay, I'm going to shut the camera off now so I can do a little better job. Here's a little preview of how it's coming out. I did all the legs with the legs standing up in the air, and now I flipped it on its side, and I like to try and paint on where the paint is going to flow on a flat surface instead of drip down. Now, the legs, it did drip down. You know, it was a vertical orientation, but there wasn't anything I can do about that. Now, where I've got this one flat, the paint flows on there a little bit better. It does have brush marks, and there's almost nothing you can do about brush marks with paint. So that's the way it's going to come out. Okay, Froggy took a little lunch break, and I'm back, and the paint looks a little better now that it's drying some. What I've got today is outside. I've got a day that's like the best of drying days of the whole year. Low humidity, high temps, and I'm getting some brush marks, and I'm getting really quick drying paint. And I called the paint store and I talked with him about it, and he said it's really going to be really hard to paint a fine piece of furniture without getting brush marks today, because it's such a fast drying day. There's a stuff called extender that you can add to latex that extends the drying time, so it gives you a little more time to overlap strokes, but I'm not going to bother with it. Now it's getting towards the later afternoon, and I think the paint won't set up as fast or dry as fast. Anyway, set it down on its feet. Now I'm going to do this little edge here and then finish off with the top, and I still got to do my drawer, but I've got to wait till that putty sets up real good, and I'm going to have to sand that down. I built it up over the spots where there'll be some shrinkage, so I might have to do that tomorrow. Anyway, back to the paint. Okay, there it is. Finished the top. You want to try to have a flat surface to eliminate runs. As I think I already said, I couldn't do that on the legs, and there's a couple little runs on there, not too bad. But I've got some brush marks. They'll flatten out a little bit as it dries, and that's about it. That's about all I got for you. You could give this a quick sanding and give it a second coat if you wanted to, but I think it looks pretty good, and it's kind of got a antique-y look the way it is, so I'm going to leave it alone. This is Froggy, and if this is any help to you, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more from Froggy, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Froggy out. One more tip I'm going to give you. When I just took a look at this drawer, and what I'm going to do is I'm hitting it with my sanding block now and knocking it down pretty much. I'm going to give it a coat of paint, and then tomorrow I'm going to sand it again and give it another coat of paint. That way I'm building up the thickness of the paint to match these patches, and I think that'll hide the patches pretty well. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Froggy out.